a scientific inquiry. From 1948 to 1969, Hynek acted as scientific advisor for a series of UFO investigations conducted by the U.S. government, known as Project Sign, Project Raj, and Project Blue Book. In his new book, he draws on his decades of experience researching UFOs to establish a classification for close encounters. A close encounter of the first kind is where you see an object within 500 feet or so. A close encounter of the second kind has some type of physical evidence, and radar corroboration, sunburned face, broken tree branches, etc. And a close encounter of the third kind is where you actually see some type of picture. In 1990, Hynek's close friend and protege Jacques Vallée added two more classifications to the scale. A close encounter of the fourth kind is an event in which a human is abducted by a UFO or its occupants. And a close encounter of the fifth kind involves an alien abductee receiving some manner of physical effect from their close encounter. For Vallée, the large number of reports of alien abductions merited the additions to Hynek's scale. The fact of the matter is that there are hundreds of thousands of abduction reports all around the world. Clearly, something is going on, and there's no doubt in my mind that these abductions are happening. According to ancient astronaut theorists, not only are alien abductions real, but they have been happening throughout human history. When we talk about the modern-day abduction phenomenon, what's so interesting to me is that they're not just modern-day occurrences, but that they've also existed for thousands of years. In ancient times, you have multiple abduction stories where Earthlings were taken up into the sky in certain vehicles. Elijah, Enoch, Abraham, Baruch, and there are other stories that are not even biblical. For example, in Cambodia, we have Priya Pisnapad, who went up into the heavens to visit Indra's palace, which in the ancient astronaut opinion, it was an orbiting space station. And then in ancient Greek mythology, Hercules was taken up from Mount Olympus in a flash. Is it possible that extraterrestrials have been abducting humans for thousands of years? And if so, for what purpose? Some researchers believe clues can be found by examining the cases of people who claim to have been abducted not just once, but multiple times. One of the first repeat alien abductees to capture the public's attention was a rancher whose experiences started not with himself, but with his livestock. Bonsler, Wyoming, August 30th, 1976. Cattle rancher Pat McGuire discovers one of his calves dead on his property. Upon closer inspection, he notices bizarre mutilations to the animal's body, including the ears and nose, which appear to have been surgically cut off. Later that night, McGuire and his cousin stake out the property in hopes of catching the culprit. McGuire camped out, effectively on his own property, keeping watch, and he saw multiple orbs, lights, moving very strangely. Something has kind of go out to him over his property. He goes to chase after it. They can't really see what this was, but the next morning they find another dead cow. So this seems to be connected. Following this incident, McGuire filed a report with the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, claiming visits from extraterrestrials occurred regularly on his ranch. 3 years later, producing are animal mutilations called a strange harvest.
Is killing and mutilating these animals. I've traveled to Wyoming, Mexico, and Colorado to collect this mystery.
According to Linda, the moment that she and the crew arrived at McGuire's ranch, they had their own close encounter.
Pat McGuire and his family came out to greet us, and were hardly out of the car. And my carrier, oh my God, look at that! It was bright green. It is glowing. It is slowly moving. It stops. And the next thing it does is it starts going back down exactly from where it came. Pat McGuire said, "This is what I'm telling you. We see it most nights." And Pat said, "I have a drawing."
I found a picture of the spacecraft what I seen that night. It was a pure white, and then it turned to a fluorescent orange, the whole ship did. And it stays this color, and of course it'll glow the whole area up right around where the cable is.
McGuire went on to say that these encounters continued. He said that maybe 20 or 30 times these things landed on his property, and he was abducted on multiple occasions.
He said that the non-humans began to take him. They gave him information about the coming environmental collapse, about the danger of nuclear war. He was shown images of fires, of floods.
Pat McGuire could not say for certain why he was shown what he interpreted as warnings about the future. But similar visions have been reported by other repeat experiencers.
Some humans, when they have been examined by an extraterrestrial biological entity, they have telepathy into their minds that what is happening has something to do with our survival and their survival. That is a theme that runs through the human abductions.
Is it certain people being chosen for a mission because there's something special, different about them? We don't know. But if we can find out what connects these people, I think that would be very useful, because that would give us a massive insight into the extraterrestrial agenda.
Could the experiences of people like Pat McGuire, who claim to have been abducted multiple times, reveal not only that extraterrestrials are present on Earth, but that they have an agenda for humankind? According to one repeat experiencer, the answer is a resounding yes. And as evidence, he points to his own alien implant. Ulster County, New York, December 26, 1985. Best-selling author Whitley Strieber is living with his wife Anne and their young son in a remote cabin in the Hudson Valley. On this night, he will experience a harrowing close encounter, the first of many that will occur throughout the course of his life.
I remember December the 26th, 1985, like it was yesterday. I woke up in the middle of the night in an incredibly peculiar situation. I became aware of the fact that there was a lot of movement around. I felt strange, and I opened my eyes, and this thing looked in my face with big black eyes, like a big insect is what I had perceived. I thought, my God, I'm having a nightmare. And it was absolutely appalling. I just was completely paralyzed. And finally, it ends. I just wake up the next morning in bed, distraught without knowing why. That was the beginning of the rest of my life.
In the days following his traumatic encounter, Strieber searched for a way to explain what he experienced.
I went into a kind of mental decline. mind, really a tailspin. I went to the doctor. I told him what I remembered, and we did MRI scan for temporal lobe epilepsy, which causes lucid hallucinations. And the bottom line was I was quite healthy, except I was very much under stress.
Having ruled out the possibility that his experience was caused by epileptic hallucinations, Whitley began to wonder if his encounter really was of an extraterrestrial nature.
My brother had sent me a book called Science of UFOs by Jenny Rand. It's for Christmas. And then I get to the end of it, and there's a description of an event that was very much like what happened to me. And I thought, holy moly, have I been abducted by aliens? Is that what happened to me?
Based on what he learned in the book, Strieber reached out to Bud Hopkins, one of the country's leading researchers on alien abductions. Hopkins had developed a process that used hypnosis to help abductees recover memories of their encounters.
Bud Hopkins proceeds to get Dr. Donald Kwan, the best, most practiced, with proven case success, forensic hypnotist in the world.
They believe that under regressive hypnosis, people who've been abducted will remember their missing time. And they began a program of talking to alien abductees, hypnotizing them, and under that regression, learning what happened.
I gotta stay relaxed now. Nothing off your eyes. Just stay relaxed. Hey, what I wanted to say. I saw something that looked like it had a hood on it, standing over by the wall near the corner in our bedroom, and comes over to the bed, and it starts like sticking something, not into my head, you understand, but like it was sticking into my mind, and it would make a noise like a voice. It was shut. God.
Under hypnosis, Strieber revealed the details of numerous experiences with extraterrestrials. These close encounters became the basis for his best-selling memoir, Communion. And it was only the beginning. In 1989, 4 years after his initial encounter, Whitley had another strange experience.
It was about 11 o'clock at night when suddenly there's pressure pushing down on my left ear like that into the pillow. And I can't do anything whatsoever about it. I can't make a sound.
Disturbed by his encounter, Strieber asked his wife Anne to examine his ear.
It became clear to Anne and I that there was something in my ear immediately because you could feel it. And it hadn't been there the day before. I said, I need an implant in my ear. And initially, my response is, I've got to get it out of here.
Whitley's wife Anne, however, convinced him he should leave the implant alone.
She says, don't do it. Don't take it out. You signed on for this. I had started going out in the woods after I figured out that this was somehow real. And I had signaled to them that I was here to do this. And so she was basically saying, fulfill your promise. And she was right.
8 years after receiving the implant, Whitley finally decided to have it removed so it could be studied.
So, here's what would happen. My ear would turn bright red and get hot, and I would hear a buzzing sort of sound, like an old-fashioned modem when it goes like that in your ear. And that would happen from time to time, but that was all for years. So we find a doctor. He says, yeah, I feel like a little cyst in there. I can take that out easily. There was an attempt to remove it.
And I would see it.
Then he tries to touch it with his scalpel, and it runs down from here, down into the bottom, into the earlobe from the peanut, on its own, right under the skin.
That's it.
At this point, he says, well, I'm going to have to pull it out. 2 days later, it goes up from here, back up to here, and where it stayed.
Both Whitley and the doctor were shocked to witness this mysterious implant move around on its own. But what could it be? After trying to have the implant removed, Whitley started to notice something very strange happening, which he attributes to the implant.
This slit opened up in my right eye, and you can see words flashing past him like someone's typing at breakneck speed. I couldn't read the words, but I knew they were helping me in my writing somehow.
Whitley talks about his implant in terms of being not a tracking device, but a communications device. And this is a fascinating possibility that the abductees are implanted with these devices so that they can communicate. There's a program here. The extraterrestrials are doing something with individuals and perhaps with humanity as a whole.
This is 30 plus years on, and I've probably seen the visitors in that period of time 50 times. And so I have ended up being their ambassador. I am trying to communicate their presence to the world. A world which is very, very dubious about the whole idea still. But nevertheless, they are here.
Strieber's experiences, while incredible, are not entirely unique. Much like the esteemed author, there is another repeat experiencer who claims to have had telepathic contact with entities from another planet. And he says that he can summon UFOs from the sky simply by thinking of them.